Thanks for tuning in to the Charles Novell School of Music podcast, The Best Day Yet. Here you'll find tips, insight, and information to help your music and your ministry succeed. Whether you're a singer, a musician, or a songwriter, we want to help you where you are, but we also want to help you get to where you want to go. We believe that our talents are God's gift to us, but what we do with those are our gift back to God. Yesterday's information is important, but what we can learn today will make this the best day yet. Hey, Rob Novell with the Charles Novell School of Music. I wanted to remind you about CNS 24 that will be taking place July 14th through the 20th at Murray State University in Murray, Kentucky. This is your chance to study with the best in gospel music. For more information, visit our website, www.cnsmusic.com. Hey, we are back. We're back another week, another episode of the Charles Novell School of Music podcast, The Best Day Yet. You know what? I hope that this finds you having the best day yet. I love our slogan. My dad for 58 years, when we would wrap up devotions every morning at the school, he would say that and just send us off to class by saying, hey, y'all, you thought yesterday was great? Well, you know what? Today is going to be the best day yet. So again, hope you're having a great day. I know I am. I'm in from a night of teaching. I had 12 students this afternoon and evening, and man, I absolutely love what I get to do. I was sharing with a student tonight that teaching isn't something I have to do. It's something I get to do. And man, we've talked about your calling, and we've talked about walking, being in your lane, and we've talked on various topics on this subject. For me, man, almost daily, I thank the Lord that what I get to do to provide for my family is what I'm called to do, and it's something I'm passionate about. So I love music. I love the gift of music, and I love teaching. So, man, I come home encouraged from working with my students. And so I'm ready. Man, I'm ready to talk with you on a topic today. I'm excited. I think this is going to be a really, really good one. We're talking on the circle of influence, and we're going to look at this from a couple different angles. I think it is really, really important that we are being influenced as well as we are being the influencers in our lives. And you know what? We'll start right there. It's not on my list of bullet points here, but part of the reason that I love to teach is I love to be an influence. So many people have poured into my life. This school has been instrumental, and God has used people over the last 5 decades that I've been on this earth and been part of this school. Again, I've not known anything but this school, and grew up in it, started studying when I was young, and have just been able to sit under some amazing teachers that influenced my life, influenced my music, and have influenced my ministry. And so I love now being in the role of being the influencer. And I learn all the time. I continually learn that through teaching, I learn. I've said it this way. I don't think you can be a teacher if you're not a student. You've got to be open to find new ways to do things, and creative strategies, creative tips, techniques to do what you do better. So as I teach, I find I learn. And that's a big part of CNS every summer. We have staff meetings every evening before our concerts, and it's just a chance for us to kind of unwind for a few minutes together. And there's staff that really, that's kind of the only time during the day that we're all in one room together, because everybody's busy doing what? Teaching, right? So we get together at 6:30 and we talk about the day's events and how the week is going, and then towards the end of the week about how the week has went. And every single one of those evening staff meetings, someone will bring up how they showed up to teach and encourage and influence, this word we're talking today, and have learned themselves, have been encouraged, have had someone influence them. I know Michael Booth, 2 years ago, we brought him in for a Monday evening concert and did an amazing job. And I woke the next morning to several missed phone calls and texts from Michael Booth. And when I talked with him, here's what he said. He said, Robbie, he said, I had no idea. He said, I knew of the Charles Novell School of Music, but until I came in and experienced it, I had no idea what you guys are doing here. He said, I showed up to encourage, motivate, and influence your students. And I left encouraged, motivated, influenced by your students. So it's a give and take type of thing. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. But I want to start with this. Saturday night, this past Saturday night, I was asked to be part of an event at a church, Calvary Assembly in Sugar Hill, Georgia. And they had a special night, a night teen talent worship within their church with their 13 to 20-year-olds. And I was extended the invitation through the mom of a couple of my students that I'm currently teaching. And over the years, I've had the amazing privilege and opportunity to work with 15 young people from this one church. And this church, you all, is just overflowing with talent. And it's so exciting. When I got there Saturday and saw everything that was taking place, it was music, it was vocal, it was instrumental, but as well, they had 3 young people that got up and spoke and gave a little sermonette type of thing. They had a young lady get up and do some stand-up comedy, which was hilarious. She talked as if she was the prodigal child and made it current to today's time. It was just the creativity and her even writing it and putting it together. But there was also art and just so much talent that was represented creatively through music, through art, through speaking. There were creative essays that were written and on display there for us to see. So I was asked to come and speak at this, and then I found out that one of my former youth pastors was there to speak as well, Pastor Greg Baird. And so I was excited, obviously, to get to see Greg, and Jan, his wife, was with him. And when I look back, Greg Baird and he was our youth pastor, Pastor Greg Baird, and then our senior pastor, Pastor Hal Thompson. And I've shared this privately with both of them, and we'll just say it publicly today. I showed up under their influence in a time of my life that was extremely volatile and crucial in my spiritual walk. And honestly, I would not be in ministry today had it not been for Greg Baird and Pastor Hal Thompson. They, at a time of my late teenage years, they encouraged me. They motivated me. They showed me that they believed in me and would go to bat for me. This isn't today's discussion. Man, I could make 2 podcasts out of just some of the stories where they were so supportive of what me and some of my friends with a band that we had inside the church there, how supportive they were to a bunch of teenagers and encouraging us to use our gifts and talents for the Lord. And in a way, in the late 80s, it wasn't real popular within the church in the style of music that we were wanting to play. They were very, very, very supportive. And again, I would not be doing what I'm doing today without the influence that they had made on my life. So it was a very, very, very cool full circle moment for me. Saturday night, I was asked to speak, and we spoke at the end of the night. It was a long night. It was 3 hours. And I got up to speak and was sharing some things that I felt the Lord had placed on my heart. And I looked out, and there was, Greg and Jam Baird on the front row, smiling and still supporting me. And then I looked past them, and currently I'm teaching 6 young people from this church, and I started seeing my current students, and then I started seeing former students that I had worked with, and it hit me. And I actually wrapped up my little talk with this. Man, don't underestimate the power of influence, because it was 36 years ago that I showed up under the leadership of Pastor Greg Baird and his influence on my life. I find myself 36 years later being involved in ministry because of his influence. And so I saw where he had influenced me, and then literally past him. The influence was on the front row, but past the influence on the front row, God began to show me the lives that I currently get to speak into and encourage them through their music and influence them. And what I said was, you don't underestimate the power of influence, because you have no idea 36 years from now what you could be doing because someone spoke into your life, or what someone may be doing because you spoke into their life. So influence is huge, and it's such a big part of what we do in music, and obviously with our ministries. So let me ask you a couple questions. You can't answer because this is a one-way podcast, but I'm going to ask you, what are some of the biggest influences on your music? Obviously, this word influence, we could put it on any subject matter and find the importance of it to be just as big. But again, at the Charleston School of Music, we are a school of music. So we're going to talk a little bit about influences in your music and how they can help us kind of move next level. That's something we like to say around here. We don't want to just stay where we are. We want to move to the next level. So how can some of these influences in our life help us to get to that next level? Again, for me, I shared this growing up in the school. There were key teachers that I was able to sit under that were a big influence on my music. Not only them personally, but the suggestions that they made to me to do different things outside when I would get home from the school, of how I could continue developing my music. Their influence stays with me to today through some of those suggestions that they made. Man, find singers, if you're a singer, find singers that you can pattern your singing after, voices that you want to emulate or imitate. Be yourself. Yes, obviously you've got to be yourself, but find things that can influence you in your what is your style of music? What lane have you been called to do? Find examples in your lane. If you like bluegrass music, then you know what? You should be listening to the Isaacs. You should be being influenced by Sonia and Becky and Ben, and let them, encourage you and push you to the next level. If you're a quartet guy, if you sing in a quartet, if you're a bass singer, you know what? We've got great bass singers in gospel music. Eric Bennett, Pat Barker. Golly, I shouldn't start because, I'll get myself in trouble leaving people out. But if your thing is Southern gospel quartet music, then find people and things that can influence you within the framework of the lane that you're in. Instrumentally, again, find influences that can help you in different genres of music and different things that can help you grow and develop. Maybe we've talked about skills here recently. We didn't really talk it there, but we'll talk it tonight. I believe instrumentally that learning different genres of music and being able to be versatile, maybe change gears and play different styles, those are skills within your skill of being a player. And for me, I have different influences maybe on the Southern gospel side versus more of the pop or contemporary side of things. Jazz is something that the last year or two that has been a skill that I'm working on developing. And so there are some key players and musicians in that field of music that will help influence what I do as I'm learning something brand new, as I'm learning to develop a new school. So find people that can speak into you and can influence your music. That's what we do at the Charleston Vale School of Music. One of the neat side things, we really don't even advertise this part of the CNS experience, but man, it's the relationships that you develop through your participation in the Charleston Vale School of Music. For me, just this past week, I was engaged in some conversations online with one of my former teachers through the school. And those are connections and relationships that were established 40 years ago, and they're still current. And there's times that I can reach out and ask a specific question about something. We say it, you've heard me say it. My dad was big with the phrase or the quote, if you want, ask the right person the right question to get the right answer. If you want the right answer, ask the right person the right question to get the right answer. That's what happens when you attend CNS and you work with a individual private instructor, or you sit through a class of one of our instructors. The neat thing about how we set up the schedule, how we set up the curriculum, the classes, and the level of influence here. I am so rattling right now. But here's the thing. What I'm trying to talk about is you will be exposed to our entire staff while you're at CNS. So through a theory class or through a seminar or through a performance training session, definitely in your private lessons, you're going to be sitting under different instructors, and you can develop relationships with these people, and they can speak into you well past a 1-week session in July at Murray, Kentucky. So influence works in so many different ways, and it's a big part of what we do at CNS. We are not here and at this stage in 2024 without the influence of those that came before us and those that are here with us, and we are looking to influence the next generation. Let's back up there. Saturday, I said something Saturday night that hit me. We tend to look at our young people and we say, this is the church of tomorrow. No, this is the church of today. We need to be encouraging, building up, influencing our young people, because we need them with us right now, helping push and deliver the gospel. Think about where they are in their schools. Think about where we are in this country right now. We need to be influencing them and encouraging them because, man, there are friends in their circles. There are friends in their school that definitely, desperately need to hear about the love of Jesus and what he can do in their lives, how he can change, how he can transform and convert their lives. So it's not the church of tomorrow, it's the church of today. And one of those influencers in my life, obviously through the years, and you've heard me talk about him, was Jeff Stice. And Jeff was such a motivator and such an encourager. He would, so many different ways, he would speak to Rob's life, personally, musically, spiritually, ministry wise. He was a voice of influence in my life. And when Jeff passed, we established a Jeff Stice Impact Scholarship Award. And Jeff, that's what Jeff did. Jeff made an impact in gospel music, and he made an impact in every life that he came into contact with. So we established the Jeff Stice Impact Scholarship, and we specifically, because of what we're talking about, we specifically determined that those scholarships were going to go to young people because they're here with us now. Yes, they will be ministering in our church of tomorrow, but they're here now, and we need to be equipping them now and influencing them now so they can help us do what we need to do. I want to talk a little bit about a theory that in the business world is called the 4 C's of influence. It's a framework that is used in the business world and corporate, in the medical fields. And I've read a couple interesting things on this, but I see how we can connect this into our music and into our ministries. The 4 C's of influence are this: competence, character, connection, and culture. Competence, character, connection, and culture. The 4 C's of influence. And they're critical for effective influence and leadership. Whether we want to use that word or not, if we are trying to influence that next generation, man, we are leading them. We are trying to point them in a direction. My students, again, one of the reasons I love to do what I do was nights like Saturday night, where I saw probably 10 of my students come across that stage and minister. It wasn't just a performance, man. The Spirit was there. There was an anointing on that place that night. And for me to see that I've been able to influence them to the point that, as we say in our opener every week on this podcast, I believe our talents are God's gift to us. But what we do with them, that's our gift back to Him. So let's be that level of influence. Let's be that level of influence on people around us and the next generation. So let's look at these 4 words. Competence. We've got to be competent to be able to lead somewhere and to exert positive influence on someone. And that comes with our ability to competently work within our skill set. If I'm trying to influence piano players, I need to be confident in the art of playing the piano to help them. But it's also a character thing. I think we need to build people up, speak positive things into people's lives, and not tear them down. We've talked about, Debbie Downers and Negative Nelson, some of these people that just constantly are complaining about things. You're not going to be a real positive influence on someone if you're constantly complaining about things. So try to be upbeat, glasses half full instead of maybe half empty. what that change and just the change in your mindset and how you think about things. So we've got to be competent. The second thing is our character. And this goes right into that. We need to be confident in who we are and protect who we are. I've said this before. Next to my salvation, my testimony is my most precious gift. And I don't need to do things in my life that would keep me from being able to speak into someone's life because it could jeopardize my testimony. So that's character. And, I think it's really, really important, not only in the level of positive influence in our life, but what is influencing you potentially negatively, or who is it that is influencing you negatively? I've spoke to youth groups before, and I've said this. I've said, look at your circle of friends. That literally is just circle of influence. Look at your circle of friends. If you can look 10 years, 15 years down the road and still see them part of your life, those are friends that you need to have right now. If you look your 10-year plan and you look 10 years down the road and you're like, there's no way I'll have these people in my life 10 years from now, then you know what? You need to kind of kick them to the curb right now. I call it friend inventory. Sometimes I think it's important in our lives that we look at who we're running with, what we're associating ourselves with, because it greatly could affect our character. The third word, connection. I think what's vitally important in any successful teacher-student relationship or leader-follower type of example is how we connect with people. From a ministry standpoint, and we've talked about this before with some of our topics with presenting and stage presence and delivering your music and maybe in your services or your concerts. The biggest thing that we need to do is to connect with the people that we get on a platform and stand in front of. And there's multiple ways to do that. We probably will dive into that at some point in a future podcast, but you've got to be able to connect with people for them to be influenced. If you're looking for positive influence in your life, it needs to be people that you feel like you can connect with. The final word is culture. And culture, it's critical in this whole effective influence and leadership thing here. I think what I saw Saturday night was a church that believes in their youth, believes in their young people, and they've developed a culture that a culture of support, a culture that where those students know that they are in the right place to get the support that they need to encourage them to pursue the giftings that God has given them. So I know culture's been a big thing and a big part of CNS the last 4 or 5 years. Is we have truly developed a culture of family within the Charlestonville School of Music. And you've heard me talk about this, y'all. My staff, my current staff, the teachers that will be with us at CNS 24, these literally are my closest friends and people that I choose and want to do life with. They're part of my culture. They're part of the CNS culture. They're part of the future of CNS and where God needs us to go with things. So culture is huge in this area of influence. So character, connection, culture, and competence was the first one again, I think are vital things in this 4 C's of influence. We're talking the circle of influence today. How can you influence people and how are you being influenced? I think it's vitally important that we keep looking for ways, number one, within our music to be influenced so we can keep developing our music, but also in our relationships and the whole ministry side of what we do. If we want to lead people to heaven, I think there's these 4 areas we really, really, really need to think about: our competence, our character, connection, and culture. Competence, we can help you at CNS. We can help you do what you do more efficiently and more effectively for the furthering of the kingdom. It's that simple. Character. You're not going to find any better people than you find at the Charlestonville School of Music. Connection. You immediately become connected with our staff and culture. Man, when you register for CNS, you become part of our CNS family. We do something a little different that we've been doing now 4 or 5 years. We have a private Facebook page. When a student registers for our next session, we add them to that page. And between now and July 14th, our students are interacting with each other. New people are being introduced, and new relationships are being started. And by the time we get to Murray, Kentucky in July, people already feel like they know each other because they've kind of been doing life together for several months. So that's part of the culture, which is part of CNS, part of the Charlestonville School of Music. Hey, let's work on our circle of influence. Let's keep being influenced within our music and within our ministries, and let's keep influencing those beside us, those that we're in ministry with, and those that we're looking to build up to continue what it is that God needs us all to do. I promise you, when you get a hold of some of these thoughts and some of these things, you'll find out that it will make it what? It'll make it your best day yet. Y'all be blessed. Thanks for listening to the Charles Novell School of Music podcast, The Best Day Yet. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under the name the Charles Novell School of Music. And for more information on CNS and our upcoming events, like our online school, our weekend regional sessions, our creative coaching, and our pastor's retreat, you can visit us at our website at www.cnsmusic.com. As you've listened to this episode, we hope that you've gained some information that you can apply to your music and to your ministry to make today the best day yet.